This quiz will show how attentive you were in biology classes. You'll hear a bunch of mind-blowing statements about the animal world, and your task will be to decide if they're true or false. Make sure to keep track of your answers to be able to share your results in the comments. Ready, steady, go! Here's the first statement. Rats are ticklish. Is it a myth or a fact? What do you say? It's a fact.
Anyway, they have a so-called laugh center in their midbrain, and it activates when someone tickles the animals or when they engage in some fun and playful activities. Scientists discovered this in 2016 after tickling the rodents on their bellies and listening to their squeaky giggles. Now, hummingbirds are the only birds we know about that can fly backward.
Myth or fact? Fact.
They mostly do it when they want to move away from flowers.
Kangaroo can walk backward. Myth or fact? Myth.
They can hop around and cross great distances, but the structure of their strong rear feet and big tails prevent them from walking backwards.
Narwhal's horn on their head is a tusk. Myth or fact? Myth.
Narwhals are those weird creatures that look like some sort of sea unicorns. That horn on their head is not a tusk. It's a giant tooth that sticks out through the upper lip of male narwhals. This tooth is probably one of the tools that plays a role in attracting ladies. Now, flamingos are not actually pink.
Myth or fact? Fact.
They're born gray, but throughout their life, they eat lots of algae and other foods that contain a red-orange pigment we know as beta-carotene, like in carrots. This pigment gets broken down and ends up in their skin and feathers, which is what makes them pink. They need to eat a lot of such food to stay like that, though. If we humans wanted to change our skin color, we wouldn't be able to eat enough food rich in beta-carotene to really turn pink, or in our case, maybe even orange.
Sloths are not actually slow. Myth or fact? Myth.
Sloths are really slow. All the jokes and memes about them are true, but they're also very skilled swimmers, and they move in the water around 3 to 4 times quicker than on land. They can do breaststroke just like people, and it's an important skill for them to have because they're tropical animals that mostly live in jungles, and those areas are often flooded. Tigers are the biggest members of the feline family.
Myth or fact? Fact.
Yup, even bigger than lions. And no tiger has the same set of stripes. Their coat is actually a camouflage that comes in handy when they need to find a good spot where their prey won't see them. Interestingly, their skin is striped too, not just the coat. Their stripes are as unique as our fingerprints.
Platypus is safe to cuddle. Myth or fact? Myth.
Now, even though they look kind of funny and innocent, you wouldn't want to bother a platypus. These wild animals are some of the few mammal species that can poison you. They have spurs on the tips of their back feet that can release venom. It's not potent enough to pose a life threat, but the sting can still be very painful and can cause swelling and other issues.
Ladybug can bleed from its knees. Myth or fact? Fact.
When a ladybug needs to defend itself against potential predators, it starts bleeding from its knees. Now, it's not actual blood coming out of its joints. It's a certain chemical that smells bad and, therefore, repels predators. They have another mechanism that helps them survive in the harsh animal kingdom, their specific color. Predators really don't like the combinations of bright colors, such as red, orange, and black, because they know that creatures colored this way can taste awful. Roosters can get extremely noisy in the morning, but they don't go deaf because they don't even hear how loud their crowing can be.
Myth or fact?
What keeps them safe is special built-in noise protection plugs. Hens have the same system that reduces the risk of hearing loss too. Not only do they have this protection, but they can also regrow cochlear hair ears if they get damaged in only a couple of days.
Owls have eyeballs. Myth or fact? Myth.
Owls don't have eyeballs. They have something that's more like eye tubes, and they can't move them back and forth like we do with our eyeballs, which is why these birds have incredibly flexible necks. They're able to rotate their heads 270 degrees. For comparison, humans can only manage 180. That's why owls have a specific system of blood vessels in their heads. It delivers fresh blood to the brain if the bird turns its head too quickly and cuts off circulation. Mako sharks, great whites, whale sharks, and some other kinds need to keep swimming. Otherwise, they'll stop breathing.
Myth or fact? Fact.
We use our lungs for breathing, and some sharks use a method called buccal pumping. This means they swim with their mouths open. That way, they allow water to flow through their gills and thus extract oxygen.
Bears are the most dangerous animals. Myth or fact? Myth.
The most dangerous animal on our planet isn't a bear, a shark, or some toothy tiger. It's something way smaller, the mosquito. Not only is it extremely irritating, but it also transfers serious diseases such as yellow fever, malaria, or dengue fever. Annually, hundreds of thousands of people don't survive the battle with those diseases. Mosquitoes also outnumber every other creature across the globe, apart from termites and ants. Grizzly bears are incredibly strong animals with a bite powerful enough to crush a bowling ball.
Myth or fact? Fact.
That's why you won't see them allowed in bowling alleys. Despite that, they're mostly light eaters. They're strong enough to make a meal out of whatever they come across, including a bison, moose, or elk, but they still like to munch on their fruits, nuts, berries, and even a small unfortunate mouse that gets lost and ends up in the predator's mouth.
Black mamba is the most venomous snake in the world. Myth or fact? Myth.
The inland taipan is the most venomous snake on the planet. We know it as the western taipan. It lives in Australia. Just one bite has enough venom to turn out fatal for at least 100 fully grown humans. And it can also do the job within only half an hour if you don't have anything to treat the bite right away. They say these snakes are mostly shy and they mind their own business. But like other animals, they will attack if they feel threatened or provoked. There's a kind of turtle that can stay alive for months under the ice by breathing through its behind.
Myth or fact? Fact.
When it gets colder, some animals can't find safe places to stay, so they must survive harsh winter conditions wherever they are. And while bees get cozy in their nests and bears sleep in caves, painted turtles stay in their ponds that freeze over. Since the ice limits their access to air, they extract oxygen directly from the water and breathe through their behinds. Yes, that would be handy.
Ravens are the silliest birds in the world. Myth or fact? Myth.
Ravens are incredibly intelligent animals. They're excellent at solving problems, but it seems they also have impressive social intelligence. They're very in tune with their feelings as well as the emotions of their mates. If one raven in the group feels pessimistic, it's likely to bring the others down too. A real buzzkill. When they see a bird that doesn't like certain food and expresses it in a very vivid way, they lose interest in their own food as well. The pistol shrimp is one of the loudest animals in the world.
Myth or fact? Fact.
Even though it's tiny, only about 3/4 of an inch long, when it senses food, It opens its large claw that can grow as long as half its body length and lets some water in. Then it snaps the claw shut extremely fast, which shoots out a very strong jet of bubbles. These bubbles can stun or even finish the prey the shrimp is trying to catch. And when the bubbles pop, it produces a snapping sound, louder than anyone would expect. Crocodiles are even scarier than we thought, because many of them can gallop like horses.
Myth or fact? Fact.
They probably inherited this ability from their ancient ancestors, who were as small as cats, had long legs, and could run at speeds of about 11 miles per hour. Smaller crocodiles probably gallop when something's after them, but caimans and alligators obviously don't need to use this skill. It's you who's more likely to gallop away when you see them.
On average, the ocean is one Empire State Building deep. Truth or false? That's false.
On average, the ocean is 8 Empire State Buildings deep, and less than 5% of its mysterious depths have been explored. It's even possible to find lakes and rivers beneath the ocean. They're denser than the rest of the water surrounding them, so you can clearly see the difference. Okay, most of the ocean may not be explored, but what we do know is about 20 million tons of gold is dispersed through its dark waters.
Myth or fact? Fact.
It's concentrated in really small amounts, which is why it doesn't pay off to mine it. If we could take it out, every person on the planet would get 9 pounds of gold.
Sharks don't have public restaurants. Myth or fact? Myth.
When sharks need their morning joe, they go to a cafe too. Back in 2002, researchers found an area in the Pacific Ocean called the White Shark Cafe, where great white sharks come during the winter. They simply hang out, tell jokes, and laugh at stories of how many humans they've scared, and then go back to the coast to scare us a little bit more when the weather gets warmer. Hey, have you had a great white latte? Try one. Humans are the only animals whose brain gets smaller.
Myth or fact? Fact.
Yup, as we get older, it tends to shrink. It can do so even because of isolation and loneliness. Other animals, even some of our distant cousins from another side of the family tree, like monkeys and chimpanzees, have no problem with that. I'm guessing television is the probable cause. Our eardrums have nothing to do with the sense of sight, but they still move when we move our eyes.
Cockroaches are the top long livers in the insect kingdom. Myth or fact? Myth.
Cockroaches are tough. They can survive harsh conditions and have been around since dinosaurs ruled our planet. But the termite queen beats all that, with a lifespan of 50 years. That's the longest any insect can live. Regular termites live only 1 to 2 years.
Bees can't fly higher than mountains. Myth or fact? Myth.
Bees can fly really high, more than 29,500 feet, which is even higher than Mount Everest, the tallest mountain on our planet. Sloths are able to hold their breath longer than dolphins.
Myth or fact? Fact.
Yup, they slow their heart rates, and they can stay that way for almost 40 minutes.
The kangaroo mouse doesn't feel the need to drink water. Myth or fact? Fact.
It lives in the Nevada desert, and since its habitat is really dry, it simply learned to quench its thirst through seeds it likes to eat.
Lobsters taste the food with their mouth. Myth or fact? Myth. They actually taste any food with their feet.
You can taste garlic with your feet. Rub a clove right in your feet, of course take the socks off beforehand, and wait for it. The chemical responsible for its unique smell can be absorbed through the skin even though the clove was never in your mouth.
Camels store water in their humps. Myth or fact? Myth.
It's not the water camels store in their humps, but fat. They store water in their bloodstream. In Tibet, there are black diamond apples that aren't green or red, but dark purple.
Myth or fact? Fact.
The place where they grow has plenty of ultraviolet light over the day, while the temperatures drastically go down during the night, which makes the apple skin get a darker color.
Lakes can't be pink. Myth or fact? Myth.
Australia has a lake of naturally bubblegum pink color. The unusual color is there because of the pigment from a certain type of algae living there.
Clouds have zero weight. Myth or fact? Myth.
Clouds look so fluffy, like they're made of giant puffs of cotton, but the average one weighs around 1.1 million pounds. So please, stay up there.
Sharks and humans have similar teeth. Myth or fact? Fact.
Sharks may be scarier than humans, but our teeth are just as strong as theirs, just smaller.
Cows moo in different languages. Myth or fact? Fact.
Yup, farmers discovered not just people have regional accents, but cows also have different moos, according to the area where they live. Hey, do cows get moody?
Giraffes can bend trees with their tongues. Myth or fact? Fact. The average giraffe has a tongue that's up to 20 inches long. Sahara is the largest desert in the world. Myth or fact? Myth.
When someone mentions the biggest desert, you probably picture the endless sandy surface of the Sahara, burning under the hot sun. Well, not quite. The biggest desert is the Antarctic Polar Desert, which covers over 5.5 million square miles in Buffalo. Nah, Antarctica. Sounds strange at first, but the definition says a desert is a place that gets less than 10 inches of precipitation annually. Still, it doesn't say if it has to be hot. Ostriches don't actually hide their heads in the sand.
Myth or fact? Fact.
When they sense danger, they lower down their head, neck, and body to the ground, which makes them a little bit less visible to predators. Their light-colored neck blends in with the sand, so it only looks like their head is hidden down there.
Alright, that's it for now. Did you manage to crack each and every question? Let us know in the comments. There are more quizzes to come, so don't forget to subscribe.